Our next inductee is a native of Carmichael, California, Mr. R.Sheheen. Ralph is known for his long, successful career in broadcasting. He has worked the microphone at NASCAR races, Supercross, NHRA drag racing, ASA stock cars, and everything in between. For more than 30 years, Ralph has been a guest in our home as we watched racing broadcasts from all across the U.S. His career has been eventful, and he has lived his dream of making a living in motorsports broadcasting. But nothing has touched Ralph's soul like sprint cars and the Knoxville Nationals. In 1995, Ralph was on the broadcast team at the historic first live telecast of the Nationals on TNN. He also spent several seasons with TNN's coverage of the World of Outlaws. Ralph has traveled just about everywhere as he followed his career, but no matter where he is or what he's doing, his thoughts are never far from sprint car racing or Knoxville. This place has shaped his life and his destiny like none other. Ralph continues his media role in our sport through his involvement in Turn 3 Media, owners of the Speed Sport franchise. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend and now a Hall of Famer, R.Sheheen.
Can you say that last part again, the Hall of Famer thing?
Yeah, it's real.
Really?
I'm telling you, it's real. And I'm curious, when you got that call from Bob in December, what was your reaction?
I was a loss for words. Yeah, totally. Just blown away. I mean, that guy over there that you saw on the screen a minute ago, never, ever in a million years dreamed would be standing here doing this with you.
Well, that's awesome, and it's fun to watch you, because I met you pretty early, and you were coming up, and you had a passion and a drive to do this, and I had no doubt you were going to be okay.
Well, everybody in this room who's ever been a part of motorsports has a passion, or you wouldn't be in it. But you never think you're going to make a lot of money doing it. You never think you're going to win a lot of races, and you certainly never think you're going in a Hall of Fame. You just do it because you have a passion. The passion gets you up every morning, gets you back to the shop, gets you to the office, gets you to the next racetrack to do whatever it is you've got to do. The rest of it is just a pipe dream somewhere down the road. I can't tell you how many times I've come here to the Nationals or for other races and would go to the museum all the time just to see the latest exhibit that Bob and the gang have put together. And you'd walk through the Hall of Fame portion, and there's all my heroes. The drivers and the media side, yourself included, and Doug Auld and Chris Economaki from Speed Sport and Jack Miller and all these great people. And then I'd go to the other side and I'd start seeing the drivers, the Marios and the AJs and, Brad Doty and everybody in there and Jimmy Sills. And you're going, wow, look at these names. And this is amazing. I'll never in a million years will I be on that plaque. There it is. I can't believe it.
Yeah, you touched on this earlier when we were talking. It really isn't about how many races you do or how, the numbers. That's not really the thing for you, is it?
No, it's very different for the media side of things. If you're a driver or a car owner or mechanic, it's how many races did you win? How many big races did you win? It's like baseball or football. It's very much stats driven as to whether or not you earn your way into a Hall of Fame. You put up numbers like Steve Kinzer, you're going in. But for a media guy like myself, I could do 500 broadcasts or 5,000 broadcasts. It doesn't matter. What mattered for getting me in here today was what my peers and the fans thought of the work I did while doing those broadcasts. And to think that they thought what I did was good enough and worthy enough to be in here with those legends that I mentioned, my heroes, I can't tell you how incredible that makes you feel.
Well, I touched on it earlier. It'll mean even more as time goes on, Ralph. I assure you, this is really special, and it's a great thing.
And I can't wait to find out what that is, because you and I have talked about this a handful of times since Bob told me I was going in, and you keep saying that. And I know you well enough to know that there's something behind your words, and so I can't wait to experience what it is that you're saying. I got a feeling it's going to be magical.
It is magical. You said you had a speech. You got it?
No.
Oh, you don't? You were pulling my leg.
No, but I do want to thank all of Bob and his staff for putting together an amazing Museum and Hall of Fame and putting this all together and inviting us all out here today. It's been a tremendous day for everybody, and it has really lived up to what you guys have all told us it would be, a magical experience. Congratulations to all my fellow inductees, and I'm really gutted. Unfortunately, my family couldn't be here today. My beautiful wife, Kimberly, and my daughter, Olivia, and my son, Lucas, I know they're watching on the Facebook broadcast, and I miss them terribly today. But I do have my racing family here, and that means everything.
You're the man, Ralph. Congratulations.
One final thing, I have to give big thanks to all the guys that have sat with me in the TV booth, especially Brad Doty. You know, I think one of the things that has gotten me to this point is that period of time when I was working with you and Dave Reef and Bobby Gerald, the late, great Steve Evans, we miss him so much, and Brad. It was a very magical time. You know, when I went to school at Chico State, I went there to be a broadcaster, and I was working at the college radio station, and I got a press pass to go cover the Gold Cup. So I go walking out there, and I'm walking around, and I hear him say on the PA, "Hey, we want to welcome Greg Stevens from ESPN here to cover the races." And I said, "Ooh, got to find that guy." So I hunt Greg down, and of course, Greg's in the Hall of Fame here, and I find him, and Greg being Greg, as great as he was, I told him what I wanted to do, and he says, "You know what, why don't you take the microphone, do some interviews for me. If they work out, you can come sit back in the Silver Bullet with me under the grandstands late at night, and we'll edit these pieces together, and you can voice them over, and we'll send them into ESPN. Maybe they'll run them, get a little going." So I go and do that, and the first interview I did for Greg Stevens, Brad Doty. I couldn't believe it. And then to think where Brad and I ended up years later in the booth right over here and down at Manzanita doing that was a Slick 50 deal. All of that and all those people that I worked with, Tom Gee and everybody, that guidance helped get me to here. So I owe them all a tremendous amount.
And there is a bunch of people in that group. I know I'm just sitting here thinking as you talk about it, and all these names, the people we've worked together with, they're kind of here too, with us.
Jim Roller, a lot of those names. And some of them eventually, hopefully, will end up in here as well because they all had the same passion for this place and this race like we did.
Yeah, absolutely. Way to go, Ralph. You did it, man.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. Ralph Sheheen. I wrote a book a few years ago with Brad Doty, and after that point, he loved to tell people that, I taught Dave how to write. Well, I've heard him say to Ralph, I taught you how to do TV. So that's pretty good.